Well, good evening, Sydney time. I'm Torvix or Victor. Welcome to another reading of the Book of Mormon, there in the gold writing, given to me by missionaries so long ago. So we read First Nephi 6 and 7 last video, so we're up to chapter 8. I'm hoping to read the whole chapter, but it's quite a strong chapter, if that makes any sense. Like the message it presents is quite important, so I don't feel that breaking it into bits would be suitable, but it's also quite a lengthy one, so it's kind of mixed up. Hope you guys have had a great day or two. It's been busy here. I've been working, and my wife's working, and I've got the kids and stuff, so it's all happening. So I do this whenever I can. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. It's Tuesday Australian time, so again, you've got a whole week to think about going to church. So just letting you know, you've got a few days ahead to organize and plan. If you don't know where your local church is, you can always Google it or contact missionaries. Just Google LDS missionaries and it'll come up in your Google search. If you use Bing, I'm sure it's exactly the same on Bing. DuckDuckGo, I can't speak to. So, we're going to read 1 Nephi chapter 8. And of course, I encourage questions and discussions and just general conversation down below in the comments. Please keep them civil, respectful, and of good faith. We've had some great discussions down there, some very, very wise people sharing some very, very deep thoughts, and I'm loving it. I can't always respond. I don't always know the answers. I don't always have that level of education that some of you guys do, but I love reading it. I read every comment. I comment as best I can, reply as best I can. But please comment down below whether you agree or disagree. As long as we're keeping it civil and respectful to one another, we'll go from there. Also, beard update. The beard's getting trimmed tomorrow. It's getting a bit unwieldy. So tomorrow I've got my day off because I'm a shift worker, so I got my day off. So we will be getting a haircut and a trim tomorrow. So for those of you who are concerned, which is nobody, but if you're concerned, I'm getting this bad boy trimmed. So I'll keep the beard, but I'm going to make it a bit more manageable, hopefully. If not, then we'll see what happens. Okay, First Nephi chapter 8. Lehi sees a vision of the tree of life. He partakes of its fruit and desires his family to do likewise. He sees a rod of iron, a straight and narrow path, and the mists of darkness that enshroud men. Sariah, Nephi, and Sam partake of the fruit, but Laman and Lemuel refuse. About 600 to 592 BC. And it came to pass that we had gathered together all manner of seeds of every kind, both of grain of every kind, and also of the seeds of fruit of every kind. And it came to pass that while my father tarried in the wilderness, he spake unto us, saying, Behold, I have dreamed a dream, or, in other words, I have seen a vision. And behold, because of the thing which I have seen, I have reason to rejoice in the Lord, because of Nephi and also of Sam, for I have reason to suppose that they, and also many of their seed, will be saved. But behold, Laman and Lemuel I fear exceedingly because of you. For behold, methought I saw in my dream a dark and dreary wilderness. And it came to pass that I saw a man, and he was dressed in a white robe, and he came and stood before me. And it came to pass that he spake unto me, and bade me follow him. And it came to pass, that as I followed him, I beheld myself that I was in a dark and dreary waste. And after I had travelled for the space of many hours in darkness, I began to pray unto the Lord, that he would have mercy on me, according to the multitude of his tender mercies. And it came to pass, after I had prayed unto the Lord, I beheld a large and spacious field. And it came to pass that I beheld a tree, whose fruit was desirable to make one happy. And it came to pass that I did go forth, and partake of the fruit thereof. And I beheld that it was most sweet, above all that I ever before tasted. Yea, and I beheld that the fruit thereof was white, to exceed all the whiteness that I had ever seen. And as I partook of the fruit thereof, it filled my soul with exceedingly great joy. Wherefore I began to be desirous that my family should partake of it also, for I knew that it was desirable above all other fruit. And as I cast my eyes round that perhaps I might discover my family also, I beheld a river of water, and it ran along, and it was near the tree of which I was partaking the fruit. And I looked to behold from whence it came, and I saw the head thereof a little way off. And at the head thereof I beheld your mother Sariah, and Sam, and Nephi. And they stood as if they knew not whither they should go. And it came to pass that I beckoned unto them, and I also did say unto them with a loud voice, they should come unto me, and partake of the fruit, which was desirable above all other fruit. And it came to pass that they did come unto me, and partake of the fruit also. And it came to pass that I was desirous that Laman and Lemuel should come and partake of the fruit also. Wherefore I cast mine eyes towards the head of the river, that perhaps I might see them. And it came to pass that I saw them, but they would not come unto me and partake of the fruit. And I beheld a rod of iron, and it extended along the bank of the river, and led to the tree by which I stood. And I also beheld a straight and narrow path, which came along by the rod of iron, even to the tree by which I stood. And it also led by the head of the fountain unto a large and spacious field, as if it had been a world. And I saw a numberless concourses of people, many of whom were pressing forward, that they might obtain the path which led unto the tree by which I stood. And it came to pass that they did come forth and commence in the path which led to the tree. And it came to pass there arose a mist of darkness, yea, even an exceedingly great mist of darkness, insomuch that they who had commenced in the path did lose their way, that they wandered off and were lost. And it came to pass that I beheld others pressing forward, and they came forth and caught hold of the end of the rod of iron, and they did press forward through the mist of darkness, clinging to the rod of iron, even until they did come forth and partake of the fruit of the tree. And after they had partaken of the fruit of the tree, they did cast their eyes about as if they were ashamed. And I also cast my eyes round about, and beheld on the other side of the river of water a great and spacious building, and it stood as if it were in the air, high above the earth. And it was filled with people, both old and young, both male and female, and the manner of dress was exceedingly fine. And they were in the attitude of mocking and pointing their fingers towards those who had come at and were partaking of the fruit. And after they had tasted of the fruit, they were ashamed, because of those that were scoffing at them, and they fell away into the forbidden paths, and were lost. And now I, Nephi, do not speak all the words of my father, but, to be short in writing, behold, he saw other multitudes pressing forward, and they came and caught hold of the end of the rod of iron. They did press their way forward, continually holding fast to the rod of iron, until they came forth and fell down and partook of the fruit of the tree. And he also saw the other multitudes feeling their way towards that great and spacious building. And it came to pass that many were drowned in the depths of the fountain, and the many were lost from his view, wandering in strange roads. And great was the multitude that did enter into that strange building. And after they did enter into that building, they did point the finger of scorn at me, and those that were partaking of the fruit also, but we heeded them not. These are the words of my father, for as many as heeded them had fallen away. And Laman and Lemuel partook not of the fruit, said my father. And it came to pass, after my father had spoken all the words of his dream or vision, which were many, he said unto us, because of these things which he saw in a vision, he exceedingly feared for Laman and Lemuel. Yea, he feared lest they should be cast off from the presence of the Lord. And he did exhort them then with all the feeling of a tender parent, that they would hearken to his words, that perhaps the Lord would be merciful to them, and would not cast them off. Yea, my father did preach unto them. And after he had preached unto them, and also prophesied unto them of many things, he bade them to keep the commandments of the Lord, and he did cease speaking unto them. Like I said, it's a powerful chapter. It's one of the more popular chapters. So I found out that most people only read one Nephi. Like the Bible, most people who are Christians have never read the Bible or only read a part of it, which is understandable. I'm not saying it's acceptable, but it's understandable. So equally, with the Book of Mormon, most Mormons, Latter-day Saints, used to be called Mormons, I apologize. Most Latter-day Saints don't have read the Book of Mormon. They've read all of it. But if you're joining the church before getting baptized, most people would read one Nephi. And so many people have read this particular section. It's also the most famous section. It talks about mocking and derision, for my interpretation. I find the straight and narrow path very interesting because it is true. To follow God in a true and honest way is not easy. And we as humans tend to focus on what we don't have and what we lose rather than what we gain. But to achieve something like that, to be able to maintain that relationship with God, it requires self-sacrifice. God's not denying us good things; He's asking us to abandon bad things. But we live in a secular fallen world, and to us, these sinful things, we believe them to be important, whether they are or not. That's agency, that's self-discussion, that's reflection. That's why we have the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to guide us and bring us revelation through the prophet, through wisdom, through teachings, through Scripture. I also find it very interesting that he had a prophecy that two of his children would not eat the fruit, would not consume the wisdom of God. That must be hard for a father, to have these prophecies, to truly believe and know that God is speaking to you, He's bringing you wisdom, and that the frustration of like, just listen to me, boys, just listen to me, but they're too caught up in the gold and the cultural opium, so to speak, of Jerusalem. So it must be tough for him. Also, the great and spacious building, that to me sounded like Reddit. When I heard that, I thought of the internet. I thought of r/exmo. I thought of multiple Reddit pages. I thought about certain accounts on X or Twitter. And I'm an Australian, so I thought about Australian culture. I thought about mainstream Australian news, the ABC, Channel 10, these networks that constantly push secularism and passively pushing us to abandon our faith for the unexplainable glories of secularism. I'm being sarcastic. But it's an interesting time to believe in anything. I was speaking to my Muslim friend at work, and he agrees that we're discussing different factors, and we tend to agree more than we disagree. He was saying to me, there's never been a more difficult time to be a believer of God, no matter what faith you are. Because although it's a safer time, there's less war comparative to 300, 400, 500 years ago, the cultural pressures are much greater. The abilities to both corrupt and be corrupted are infinitely greater. So it's interesting. I would really like to know your thoughts. If you get to this part, thank you very much. I'd love to know your thoughts down below. What do you think? What does this chapter speak to you? What does it mean to you? I'd really love to know. God bless. Go to church. You've got a few days now to organize. You can't say you don't have time. You can organize and get down there and see what God has in store for you. See old friends if you've not been in church for a while. Make new friends if you haven't. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. God bless.